Another place where I found your artworks was here. Can you guess where I am? And who lives here? Brace yourself, Orson. It's Beatrice, your third daughter. She's in her 60s now, but is still a rocker chick, and sometimes drives with no hands.
I was reading that you first came across Orson Welles at the age of 8 when you saw A Touch of Evil. What's an 8-year-old doing watching A Touch of Evil?
My mum and dad had gone to bed. I was watching late night TV and this movie started and there was something seductive about it. At that age I did not know that Orson Welles' Touch of Evil was about racism and sexuality or self-deception. But there was something about its texture. It's, you can perceive a texture of a film when you're young, and it felt like velvet to me, like a pint of Guinness.
There have been so many things written about Orson Welles, said about him. What was it that prompted you to make this particular film about him?
Yeah, I did not want to make a film about Orson Welles. There are so many documentaries, so many books. But then I saw the drawings and paintings. Orson Welles studied art, not film, and when he was frustrated with Hollywood, which was quite a lot of the time, he drew and painted. In a restaurant, in a bar, he would be scribbling, and there are nearly 1,000 of his scribbles. And they're like a private diary, but a visual diary, a kind of a diary of his visual thinking. And so then I thought, I have to make this. So what am I doing first, getting these done?
All of those should be his paintings, if I remember right.
That is gorgeous, that, isn't it?
What, isn't that fabulous? That was a Christmas card. That was a Christmas card.
That's sort of what I saw this morning when I got up.
I called it Broadway Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, about a producer saying, "So sorry, Mr. Welles, we haven't got around to reading it yet." It's just like the usual.
And he's saying, "How about my play?" Is that
yes, exactly. That's him. That's him. You see, and where did the money go to? You see, it's my life of my father. And he put here some Broadway blues.
What would you say was the main thing that you learned about Orson Welles making the film?
Before I started this film, I knew that Orson Welles was a bundle of contradictions. I knew that he was very modern, he was experimental, and yet really romantic. He believed in the old-fashioned values. I knew that he was very principled about anti-racism, about social justice, and I knew that in his private life, in his love life, he was rather less principled. So the contradictions I knew about, I did not know how vast they were. He's even more romantic than I thought, even more modern than I thought, even more principled in politics than I thought. He wrote speeches for Eleanor Roosevelt, but even more disappointing in his love life. So he's just bigger. We think of Orson Welles as a huge man. He was, but I think of him now as even bigger than I did before.
For many years, Citizen Kane was top of the BFI poll of greatest films of all time. Now it's been overtaken by Vertigo. Film obviously isn't a competition, but would you put one of those films ahead of the other?
I think Vertigo's better than Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane, in my opinion, is not Orson Welles' best film. I would say Chimes at Midnight, his Shakespeare film, or Macbeth, his Shakespeare film, are both better. I think Touch of Evil is better as well. I think something might happen about Citizen Kane, because Citizen Kane is about this man, Charles Foster Kane, who's sort of like a Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is on record admiring this film. So if in the early 1940s, in the late 1930s, Orson Welles made a film that anticipated the era of Trump and Modi and Erdogan and Putin, then maybe Citizen Kane's reputation will go up again. It's already very high, but it might go up further.